Hey everyone! Welcome back to Saturday Morning Toy Tunes, the weekly live stream that usually happens on Saturdays, but today is happening on Sundays. But Sunday, it's only happening on one Sunday, not two, in which we gather around the modern day campfires of our iPhone screens and computer monitors and talk about the things that happen in the Week in Geek. How was everybody's Christmas? Mine was pretty cool. I didn't do much. I went up to see my aunt and uncle. I didn't get a lot of gifts except for from work, which we'll get into that later on down the line. And today, Happy New Year, everybody. But anyway, back to I'm totally freeforming this. I did a quick list. I wanted to count down some of my favorite things that happened in my favorite realms, that being music, that being collectibles, that being film and TV. Actually, I completely failed to make a list of my favorite films of 2023. So I'm gonna have to wing that one. So that should be a lot of fun. Anyway, how's everybody doing out there? I would love to know what everybody got for Christmas. So if you haven't started posting in the chats, then do so. If you got any cool collectibles over Christmas, let me know. My glasses are freaking filthy, so I'm gonna have to clean them again. That's almost become a tradition on this show. Hope everybody's hearing me okay. I know I've got the music at kind of a low volume. I'll fix that here in a little bit. Because we can't have Saturday Morning Toy Tunes without tunes. But apparently we can have it without Saturday. The reason this is happening on Sunday instead of Saturday is because I made an appointment for Dobby at 9:45 on Saturday morning, and I posted a poll, I think it was on the Facebook page, asking people what they would prefer that I do, and streaming on Sunday as opposed to streaming late on Saturday or skipping it altogether wound up being the overall winner. So yeah. Got my coffee. I'm totally out of filters for my not my Keurig. Keurig. Ugh, God. Not Keurig, but my pour over system. I don't have filters for it right now. Mostly because I'm having heartburn issues, and coffee seems to exacerbate that, as does red wine. So both those things are gone from my repertoire right now. But I also have a donut. This is new. They just threw this together. It is a salted caramel cream cheese tart from the Donut Stop, which is a nationally known donut shop in St. Louis that is just so happens to be less than a mile from my house. So I'm very, very lucky that I moved to within a mile of the Donut Stop. Although the argument could be made for my waistline that it's not such a good thing. Yeah. Who else is gaining weight this holiday season? I'm way up there, man. I am way up there. I'm not back to where I was at this time last year. I'm still about 10 pounds down. So I'm going to consider that an overall win for 2023. Hopefully, now that the holiday season's over, that trend will start to reverse itself. It's a roller coaster, baby. It's always a roller coaster when it comes to weight gain and weight loss, right? Yeah. I'm going to have to take steps. Or not take steps and just, literally take steps. Take Dobby on more walks. Right? He agrees completely. Anyway, moving right along. Let's see who's here today. I want to say hi to everybody. Thought about doing a giveaway today, but I wound up not having really anything to give away that I thought was really worth giving away. Just small shit. Steve Nahra was first out of the gate. What's going on, Steve? Welcome. Keith Lee was also here. Also, you can pretty much count on Keith Lee to be one of the first ones out of the gate. Thanks for being such a loyal viewer and subscriber to the channel. Thank you very much. Pierre P from Florida is here. Mr. Mom Collectibles is here. That's a solid YouTube channel. If you aren't watching, you should check it out. Pretty prolific. Not as prolific as, say, TK421, but man, that guy's really hard to beat. Cobb Vanth was a great underrated figure, in my opinion, one of the top pickup of 2023. Well, did that make my list? Stay tuned and find out. Oh, by the way, before we go any further with that, I just want to say that I really tried to make time to create some awesome graphics to go up to walk hand in hand with the with my lists, but we're just going to do this thing podcast style, which, podcasts don't have a whole lot of visuals going along with them, so you're just going to have to listen to me, which I think most people just put this thing on the background and don't actually sit here and stare at my face for 2 hours. God, I hope not. That thought actually terrifies me more than I thought it would. Farès Fayad is here. Hello, Farès. Good to hear from you. Linda is here as well. And 14 Wellington. What's up, dude? I feel like we have more people out here out of the gate than we do on Saturday mornings. Maybe this calls for a potential change. Saturday morning Toy Tunes becomes Sunday morning Toy Tunes? Nah, that defies the format. Besides, Hopefully one of these days our friend Paul Sun Hyun Lee is going to return to like regular live streams on Sunday, and then we can have the Terry Paul sandwich like for the weekend like we used to have. Happy New Year, Sir Terry and Chet. Thank you, Steve131 from across the big pond. Also, we have Bad Wolf Media from up in Quincy, Illinois. What's going on, Mike? Talk to me about wrestling. Yeah, I meant to get back to you about that, and I never did. While waiting for Terry, I'm currently watching a world-class opera singer reacting to AC/DC's Big Balls. I bet that's fun. Those reaction videos by classically trained singers to rock and roll musicians are actually kind of enjoyable. More so than I thought they'd be. I don't listen to them a lot. Watch them a lot. Listen to them. It's a little bit of both. Listen to some good old Martin Garrix. I have no idea who that is. I have no idea. Maybe I need to broaden my horizons. Except for that one guy. He knows who he is. Okay. Probably me. Probably me. I just noticed that my hair's like dangling down there. Maybe that's a good look. Nah, not especially. Let's show off those big old ears. That's potential. Especially on days like today when I was running a minute or two late. I'm doing laundry. I should probably do some laundry. Either that or just buy more socks. Definitely need to buy more socks. I was going through a phase where I shopped only at Target for things. So the bulk of my socks are Target socks from a company called Pair of Thieves. And they're hideous. Hideous. Not that you see socks too many times, but still, no. Sniffing that bark. Sniffing that bark. It's too bad that doesn't show up as a graphic because it's really fun. Time has stopped itself and is waiting for... That's usually how it goes. Yeah. TK4, the aforementioned TK421 Collectibles is here with us. What is going on, Chris? Good to see you. Oh, they're not going to be long. Oh, that's too bad. It's nearly food and drink time, and the family want to spend time with me or something. What? That's weird. Rob Perisho is also here. What's up, dude? Renz Tolentino, talented artist. Man, did you do anything this week? Oh, you've got the Homelander thing as your awesome little, not a thumbnail. What is it, avatar? Yeah, let's call it an avatar. Yeah, that's a great... Oh, just look at it, everybody. When it's pulled up here, you can actually see it larger than it is on screen. Louis Libitz is here. What's up, dude? I did have an amazing end of year. I'll get into that here in a little bit. You can probably see part of it over my shoulder. Can you see it? What's different? If I move out of the way, will it focus on it? No? Not quite. Okay. I got a Hulkbuster. I'm just going to bring it up. Look at this brick. Look at this brick. It's so big. This is right next to me. Look how big. This is 6 scale, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see why it's not actually going to be featured on the show, because this is where it would usually have to sit, and you're never, even if I go wide, you're not going to get all of it in there. It's massive. It is a Power Pose series by Hot Toys, which means there's not a lot of articulation on it at all. The arms are articulated at the shoulders, but just on one axis. The head will turn, but when it turns, it actually tilts a little bit if you tilt it too far, so it doesn't look as cool. The feet are locked in place. The hands will turn, and the waist will rotate. So you can do some things with it, but not much. It really only looks good in like one... Yes, that's right. I'm hugging my Hulkbuster. I need a papoose for it. I'm just gonna like walk around like a street party. But next time I go to like some kind of a street party theme, like I might just go to Pride and like walk around carrying this thing on my chest. That's it. I've never been to a Pride thing, but I keep feeling like I should go. Anyway, let's put this back over here on the bass amp. Cool. I didn't think I'd like that thing as much as I do. It's really, really, really cool. Where was I? Happy New Year! You can already see that I'm wearing pants. Bitter Troll, Bitter Troll, Bitter Troll. Mark Attack! Hello, Mark Attack. Good to see you here. I got a metal shield. You did? It's a mead. I've got a metal shield up there. It's a Captain Carter shield. It's really cool. It's handmade by some dude in Wisconsin. I think it's Wisconsin. It might be Iowa. Someplace north of here. Nothing geeky received for Christmas, but you saw the magnetic Samus figure. Dude, that was really, really cool. If you guys haven't seen it, there's a magnetic Samus. I don't even know how to pronounce that because I've never played that game. Samus. Irish. Actually Scottish, but oh well. Yeah, it's really, really cool. Go to the Poser Posse Facebook group and you'll find Steve Nahra's photo of that where it's just like hanging from a wall, like it's bouncing off of a wall. It's really, really cool. Gary Ho is here. What's up, Gary? From Hong Kong. Yeah, it is already 2024 there. Overachievers. Getting your stuff done early. Yeah, well. I did my New Year's Eve partying last night. I went to my former neighbor's house and hung out with her and these cool cats. Ah, man. I won't get too much into it, but it was a lot of fun. What's this, Bad Wolf? My wife and I get each other just fun, silly little things like, oh, seriously? I do love a Pez dispenser. Not enough to buy any, but I do appreciate them. Yes, buying stuff for yourself actually does count. I bought myself a thing. This actually isn't for Christmas. This is my one figure a month. It was New Figure Monday, last Monday, and this just came in on Thursday. So, was it right? Thursday? Yeah, I think it was Thursday. Wow, look at that big jump in the chats. Yeah, I'm afraid this one's gonna break my heart, or maybe break my belt. Anyway. Bought myself the 100 Wonder Woman. Yeah, that's a good figure. I recently had to send that back. I think they wound up giving it away. Yeah, so if you got the Wonder Woman 100 figure in the giveaway, it's probably got my DNA on it. Yeah, that can be a problem, I know. One-way escalator. Everybody seems to be sharing the same problem. Commander Green is here. Always good to see you in the chat, sir. Thank you for joining us here today. He brought 2 cups of coffee. This is technically 2 cups of coffee. How many ounces are in a venti? Do they actually say on the cup? No, not really. Is that an expiration date? I wonder if it's an expiration date or a born-on date. There's legitimately a date on the bottom of this coffee cup. Can't quite see it. Don't want to pour my coffee all over myself or my computer monitor. I need that coffee. My computer doesn't. My computer's awakened enough. Darth Batman 81 is here. Always good to see him as well. Man, Crocs are such a polarizing thing, aren't they? You either love them or you hate them. I happen to fall in that latter camp. I just can't do them. I haven't so much as tried them on, so I'm not even giving them a fair shot. Single songwriter is here. Oh, I don't know what that star did. Anyway, hello collectors, wishing you a Happy New Year. Thank you very much. And yes, please hit that like button. It does help the channel, believe it or not. So if you're in a position to do so. I always assume that if we have 50 people in the chats, wouldn't that be something? And we only get, say, 15 or 20 likes. I just assume that it's because people are listening to it and not actually watching it, so they're across the room and can't reach that like button. I scored huge by visiting a craft show with a friend a month ago and got her locally roasted espresso beans, locally distilled vodka, and a Minion pop-up Christmas card. That's really cool. Shopping for my aunt and uncle, I went to Max Local Eats here in St. Louis, and they actually have, they're an amazing burger joint, probably my favorite burger joint in the world, and they only use locally sourced food for their stuff. It's really, really delicious. But they also have a little tiny market area where they hawk a bunch of materials like coffee and soap and hot sauces, all kinds of things just from local companies or just local people. It's really, really cool, and I got my aunt and uncle a bunch of stuff from there. They were very appreciative. The charismatic voice. I don't know what that means. Love the charismatic voice. What are we talking about? I must have missed something. The chats must have jumped again. Yeah. I'll pretend to know what that means. Big ol' ears. Some people think you should be doing laundry before New Year's so you don't bring any black juju with you. Oh, really? Well, I'm not the superstitious type, so I'll buck that trend. I've got so much cool stuff to do today. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm working on a figure, and there's something that I'm struggling with it. And I legitimately need advice from somebody who knows about the figure, but because the figure's not released, nobody knows about it. The instructions are telling me one thing, but the figure itself doesn't want to do what the instructions say it should be able to do. Or at least if I can do it, then it's making me nervous that I'm going to break it while I attempt it. I'll say no more. I'll say no more. So that's the struggle that I'm having right now. You're safe on the wrestling thing. It's not until February 5th. Okay, that's a long way off. And the Eagles are there the next night, so a fun week. Hey, wow. You might have to crash, bro. We'll talk. Why is that infinite? Because it can't. It can't. Yeah, isn't it amazing? 19 inches and change in height. And that's with it's got a pretty good squat going for it. So you can imagine that it would probably be, if it was standing 100% upright, like coming to you in a box with articulation, which it doesn't, then it would probably be 22, 23 inches in height. So twice the size, almost twice the size of your average 6-scale figure. Yeah, for the price, he's sold out at Sideshow now, but for the price, $430, you get an affordable Hulkbuster that will look really cool with any, especially a Infinity War display, or any Iron Man display, which is how I plan to, well, I think that's actually how it's going to be. I thought about clearing a spot for it up on this shelf up here, but then I have other plans for that, which include potentially adding another shelf above the one that's up there now. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Certainly wouldn't need the Apple box for that guy. Maybe half an Apple box, because it would have to be elevated anyway. But that's not important. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they perform in the aftermarket. If you can if they wind up being more affordable, somebody could check right now if somebody had time. We're going into the octagon, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we are. Rearrange the collection room, says Kenny Marira. And move the Mark 44 Buster. Damn, I forgot how heavy it is. Is it really heavy? I don't know. I've only ever seen it. I've never handled one. Guy has one, and I do not. I feel like there's a fundamental injustice there. Oh, God. Seamus Aaron or Seamus Aaron? Yeah. That sounds delightfully Irish. Delightful. The Irish half of me is, yeah, really into that. The notorious DBDP has entered the house. Everybody. Yeah. Let him hear the call. Time traveling Gary Ho, that's right. Oh, did you? Did you get the Hot Toys version, or did you get the you don't actually? Did you get the 12 scale version, the Hot Toys 6 scale version, or the what's his name, Jazz Inc. version? Which I can talk about that because it's licensed now. Good on you, Just. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I have one thing that he made. Justin McFly. Thank you, man. Got the Vision, in-game Loki, Eternals art book. That's cool. I love art books. I've stopped collecting them. I just don't have the shelf space anymore. In-game Loki. Oh, yeah. The one that took so long to come out. I knew you got the Vision because we talked about it. I got the Snyder Cut Justice League 2-pack Superman and Nightmare Batman. Love that. That's on display right now in the photo studio, video studio, whatever you want to call it. Photo and video kind of walk hand in hand, so pick your poison, whatever I'm doing that day. Currently, it's a video studio. Good man. Yeah, that's what we like to hear. Christopher Colvin is here, droid maker extraordinaire. Yeah, he's not as regular here as he used to be. Not chastising you, but I recognize you're busy building droids. And I think that's a much better use of your time. 20 ounces for the venti. Okay, cool to know. Thank you, Uber Dog. Windman42. That's a new one on me. New Year's Eve greetings. Nice to see all familiar faces from this cool community. Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it? That's, I mean, that wound up being the, after the demise of Unsealed and Revealed, that wound up being one of the cool things about starting this. I wasn't actually intended for that, of course, because I had no idea that Unsealed and Revealed was going to cease to be a thing at the time. But it just wound up being a place where I could stay in touch with people who, not only people who were part of Paul's community, but also people who were part of that Sideshow community. And yeah, just having a nice place where everybody could coalesce into a nice little unit once a week, and we could just hang out and talk about stuff. Or I can talk about stuff. You guys can chat about stuff. Yeah, one sympathizes, dude. One sympathizes. I've got to get busy because that gallery show is going to be here before I know it. So I've got to generate some content for that. I have enough to do a show right now, but I think I can do something better. I'd like to show a little bit more progress. Like maybe there's been some evolution there, even if there hasn't been. Wow. That's an Elseworlds thing if ever there was one. That's something I've never explored in my toy photography, is mixing licenses, which I know is a fun thing that people like to do. So maybe I should explore that a little bit. Do a Wrecker versus Hulkbuster photo. Yeah. I really need to work on my environment building skills. I have none at this point. I basically just gather rocks and anything that looks like sand and just try to create the illusion. Try to create the illusion of an environment. In that regard. Or maybe I should just keep doing that. Maybe that should be my shtick. What if this season was amazing? Amazing. Seamus. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. And I'll tell you why I'm not going to do that. But I'm not going to discuss that here. Best Car Kid's in the house. What's up, dude? Did I see you already? I don't think I did. 90s grunge vibes. Turn that up a little bit. That might be too long. Loud. Long. Yeah. Kenneth Bird is here. What's up, Kenneth? There we go. Okay, 1/10 scale. Okay. Yeah, dude. I'm trying to decide. I got a Tumbler. Hot Toys Tumbler. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's just so big. It's almost 3 feet in length, I think. It legitimately needs like a coffee table style display in order to make it work. I don't have anything. Like, there's a place that I could put it in my studio, but I'd have to sacrifice workspace for it, and I really can't afford to do that. So I think it's just going to have to go into the cellar until such time as I expand that cellar and do something to create another collectibles display downstairs, which that's not even topping my list of things to do in the next 5 years. Toy Quest 101 is in the house. What's up, Miguel? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What up, Keithley? Everybody's saying hi to each other. That's what I love about this place. Insane Goon says this is a good jam, and it is a good jam. Trying to decide why I downloaded it. If it was for a video or what. And I've done it. I've caught up already. Only took me 24 minutes. Wow. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna click on that. Yeah, I've had 3. This is my 3rd Tumbler. And I keep giving them away. The first one I gave away to a friend in California. The second one I gave away to my friend Scott Heinemeyer, who may or may not be in the chats right now. And this third one, who knows what's going to happen to it. I will say that it's the most pristine one that I've had. There's a minor, like, where the styrofoam rubbed on top of the tumbler, there's like a minor little... I don't even want to go so far as to call it an abrasion in the finish. There's just a little... chuff. I think I just made up a new word for that kind of a thing. But it's barely noticeable. And I'm perfectly comfortable with it. I haven't checked the light up features on it. I assume that they work fine. But again, I think this is the most perfect one that I've received. Like even the one that I gave to Scott Heinemeyer had a broken antenna on it. Or we might have broken that when we were taking it out of the box. Not sure. Oh, really? Well, that's delightful. I love that they have so much confidence in it that they know that they're going to be able to move forward with it. So that's great news for me because I think it's legitimately my favorite MCU storytelling medium. I get more joy out of watching What If than I do out of any Marvel movie south of, say, Endgame and Infinity War. You could throw the Guardians of the Galaxy movies in there and probably Iron Man 3. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Michael Flower is here. Ciao, my friend. How are you doing, man? Yeah. Thanks, my friend. Your enthusiasm, is, as always, is very much appreciated. And yeah, right back at you all the way. Yeah, I'm going to have to look up the Season 3 teaser. I'm stoked. I see a lot of people complain about how much focus was on the Captain Carter this season. I didn't notice that people commented about it. Why would you complain about that? Captain Carter is amazing. Bring me more. Bring me more. What was up with the Native American character? Was she created specifically for that? I honestly haven't done my research. I had never heard of her before. Yeah, never heard of her before. So if she's an all-new character, I think that's brilliant. If she's somebody that I haven't been aware of previously who has existed in other mediums, then I really kind of need to know. Because I want to know more about her. But that was if that was all new, what a great original story, and so brilliant of them to take an opportunity to introduce a new character like that. I'm really excited to see where they go with her. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, see? How's your day been going? You know, it's been pretty non-productive. I had a bottle of wine last night at my friend's house, and so I got a good night's sleep, either thanks to that bottle of wine or in spite of it. Who knows? And woke up pretty early and basically went and got donuts, went and got coffee, took Dobby outside. Really tried really hard to throw together this list of my favorite things of 2023, which I'm going to get to here in a minute. Yeah, I planned on doing it at 10:30, so I should get right on it. Dirk Diggler's stunt double. I do not. I find out the same time you guys do. The only thing I have advanced knowledge of is when figures are going to be announced for release for shipping by Hot Toys. And that's not even something I can talk about, obviously. And the only reason I know that is when they send me the figure to do a first look video for. So I feel comfortable sharing that with you because I think that it's obvious. It should be obvious that, you know, that's something that I am aware of, but I just can't talk about it. Hashtag NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Primetime Reviews is in the house. Sounds like a channel I should be checking out. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on Cobb. Yeah, I can't wait to see him. I did the first look video for it, so this is not. I'm probably not going to seem as enthusiastic as I would about a figure that I'm opening for the first time, but my enthusiasm should still be there because this has been one of my most hotly anticipated figures of the year. I will tell you this though, it didn't make the cut for the top 5. It did not. I completely agree. So anybody who wanted to send Haley Atwell over to my place to sing Christmas carols or something, do so, if that's a thing. Yeah, I don't know that she's standalone movie material. I guess it would depend on the story and how well they tell that story. Yeah, that's always the main thing for me. If there's a story there, then please tell it. See, I thought so. I figured that was something that I figured I would have known about her. But yeah, brilliant. Gahori, that's it. I had most of that in my brain, but not 100%. So thank you, Linda. Oh yeah, I actually noticed there was actually something about that in the closing credits. How they gave specific thanks to that specific Mohawk tribe, who gave them all the assistance that they could in the creation, trying to keep that as close to accuracy as possible. Devery Jacobs, I don't know who that is. Dude, that was so good. I love that. I love just being able to play with colored gels and smoke and light. I mean, I've been doing it since I worked at Sideshow, so it's been the biggest thing in my bag of tricks in my photography arsenal since I worked at Sideshow, and it can be so effective. And you pulled it off really, really well. So if this is just you getting started on using smoke and light to create effects, I expect great things of you. You're gonna do some cool shit. Oh, she's in Mission Impossible, huh? Oh, Haley Atwell is. Yeah. Legitimately triggered me. Because I just had an accident when I watched that movie. My car wreck that totaled my Audi A3. And that sequence where she was driving that car very, very badly when she's running from Ethan Hunt. And she's hitting like every car on the street. The sound effects were so realistic and so reminiscent of what that accident actually sounded like for me, and just having happen again and again and again and again built up my anxiety with every collision until I had a straight up panic attack. And so yeah, good job, Mission Impossible sound designers. That was great. Hey, Stephen Rosen, what's up? Happy New Year. Happy anything special lineup for 2024? No. Lineup for 2024. May divorce be with me. Let's see. I'm allegedly being sued. Good luck with that. And by the driver of the other vehicle. But that's all I'll say about that. Other than the fact that it's a hopeless case. Fantasy. But that's about it. I mean, I might take up gardening again this year. I'm actually growing my own fruits and vegetables. Not fruits, but definitely vegetables. I don't know. Get back on the bicycle. Yeah, get over my fears that I've developed after I had a catastrophic bicycle crash back in 2016 or 2017, in which I shattered my shoulder, broke my shoulder blade, collarbone, 3 ribs, 3 fingers. And yeah, it wasn't pretty. Yeah, that took me off guard. Kind of curious. I'd be very curious to see what the reaction is to that. How well it sells, how many people get it. It's going to be big. It's pretty. I love all the colors. I was thinking about the What If line by Hot Toys yesterday while I was like legitimately laying in bed thinking about getting up, and I was thinking about that line and how it would be very understandable if one were to just make that line of collectibles the only line of Hot Toys collectibles that they collect. Because it's such a small line, although it is getting bigger, but compared to like Star Wars, for instance, or even the MCU in general, it's just such a nice, tight niche that it's manageable. It's very manageable financially, in terms of real estate, everything. So it would be, if you're going to just pick one, that's a pretty solid choice. I mean, you've got Zombie Hunter Spider-Man, you've got Captain Carter, you've got the Hydra Stomper. Trying to think of what else. Did we get a Doctor Strange from that yet? Because that would be really cool. I feel like that's lacking. Definitely would love to see a Watcher. Yeah, I think that I would be very, very tempted, maybe very, very tempted to transition from collecting Iron Man figures to collecting What If figures. They're just really, really cool. Working on Venom's Tentacles for 2024 right now. We're watching your live sessions. How close are you guys? Yeah, you're not there yet. It's not New Year. It's not New Year for you guys yet. Yeah, I would be very curious to see them do that. I don't think it's going to happen. Sinister Strange, or what they're calling Supreme Strange, I think, would be really cool. Hydro Stomper V2. No, I doubt that. I doubt that. Melina and a Giant Man? Oh, God. Hopes and dreams. Hopes and dreams. There's a lot of hopes and dreams in that comment. Yeah, probably. That's where it will sell. That is where it will sell, most definitely. Was it really? I didn't know that. That's a hot tip. Thank you, Kenny. This comment meets with my approval. If only because you spelled Ahsoka correctly. Yeah, again, I'm not your source for inside information. Even if I could tell you, I can't. Yeah, afraid not. And that's actually one of the prerequisites for this live stream. I mean, if I were to reveal anything like that, the hammer would come down so hard. So, sorry, Jack. I wish I could tell you more, but I can't. Oh, interesting. I never saw Reservation Dogs. A couple people have told me that I need to be watching that, but yeah, I'll get around to it eventually. Oh, is she the was she the main female lead in American Gods? That tracks. Wasn't she also in the Zack Snyder thing? It'll come to me. Oh, you're a sneakerhead. Lego Daily Bugle sounds hot. Green Goblin Deluxe. Are you talking about the original suit? Not the upgraded suit? I'm guessing so. Ooh. Don't make me choose. Let's see. I actually have a list, but it's in another browser, so I'm going to have to pop open a browser here. Really hyped about... Let's see. Really hyped about Mace Windu. But the Sandtrooper and Dewback probably tops the list. I'm thinking so. Having a Sandtrooper and Dewback has been such a long time on my wish list that it's got to top the list, definitely. It's actually in a Sandtrooper and Dewback by Sideshow was in my list of 5 grails that if I acquired all 5 of them, I'd quit collecting. It was like my attempt to bargain with the gods of the universe and such, the collecting gods, to try to get me these things. Probably a poor bargain. Yeah, man, I do miss it. The downside is that while I began cycling when I lived in St. Louis before, and I was a very avid cyclist, I was doing my rides were anywhere between 30 and 55 miles, depending on the route that I took. And then I moved to California, and my rides got more vertical because of mountains. And I learned the thrill of the descent down the switchbacks of the various mountains in the area. And I just don't know. Plus, the infrastructure here is not really geared towards cycling as much as it is in California, believe it or not. And in California, I think drivers are used to seeing cyclists on the road. There are still some assholes out there that like to really harass and berate cyclists, even in California, but not nearly to the extent of St. Louis. St. Louis, there are some St. Louis drivers out there that are just assholes. I remember even before when I lived here, I would get bottles and cans thrown at me by passing cars. Rolled up to a stop sign and a carload of kids threw like a full-on big gulp full of whatever was full of it all over me when I was waiting at a stop sign. And which it was a hot day and it actually felt kind of good, so I didn't really hate them for it. But still, it's just bad behavior. Some real trashy people around here. Zombie Wanda would be sweet, but I really want to see a lot of great detail in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, no sweat, dude. Again, I'm apologizing if I'm skipping any comments. I'm trying to get through them as quickly as possible. Yeah, this is going to be, that's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think I ordered that one. I think at the time I had the Sideshow version and I was like, that's fine. And I'm also really kind of holding out, hoping that they do an Empire Strikes Back specific version that's either a figure that can be disassembled, which I find unlikely, but it would have I think that it would have to be a full-on 3PO figure from Empire. And a separate torso and body parts with the sack that could be included with Chewbacca. So you could release it that way, or you could release it just the figure and then have Chewbacca with the 3PO parts in a deluxe edition. There are multiple ways that they could do that. I'm sure people have their own ideas. Yeah, if I had to keep only one from this year, which who knows could happen, hashtag lawsuit. But if that were the case, I think I'd only keep the Sandtrooper and Dewback. Let's skip that drama. Is there one piece that would make you feel your collection is now complete? Happy New Year, by the way. Good vibes. Thank you. Right back at you. I think that I feel like the Sandtrooper and Dewback is just such a quintessential Star Wars vibe that would probably be, if I were going to call it quits with a single piece, that would probably be it. Even since I started thinking about the Sandtrooper and Dewback in that regard, I've acquired other pieces like Mando on the Blurg that I feel even more so illustrates the origins, like the vibe of Star Wars just perfectly. You could almost see like if Frank Frazetta was to do Star Wars concept art, I feel like it would look like the Mando on Blurg, the way I have it displayed. And so to me, that's kind of what the Sandtrooper on Dewback represents. Even if you wanted to display the Sandtrooper separately and put Mando on the Dewback instead, you could be forgiven for that because it would look really, really cool. And it would also tie in the original Star Wars with new Star Wars in that regard. So, yeah. Where was I? Where am I? Yeah, there's some good trails over on the other side of the river here too. And there's a good one here. Not the what do they call it? Grant's Trail. The trailhead for Grant's Trail is not far from my house at all. It's between 2 and 3 miles away, so I could bike to that and just like cycle the trail. It's just getting there without, running into jerks. The other thing about the trails in Illinois and Missouri is that they're all rails to trails kind of a situation. So it's relatively flat. You don't get a lot of vertical. And I do like what that climbing does to my thighs. Take some stuff down to the flood wall and use the graffiti. All right. You're off the panel. Yeah, don't care. I'm gonna go a little bit harsh on this one, because I genuinely don't care. There needs to be a transition to things like this, not just because of the fact that people who commute by bicycle remove quite a bit from their carbon footprint. And the more people who do it, obviously, the better it is for the environment in general, and the air, and just the air you breathe in any urban area. It's. I'm sure that you can quantify it. I would love to see some studies that have done that. Exactly how much pollution every car puts into the environment, any urban environment. I would love to see those numbers, but. I'm legitimately, and this is almost like a totalitarian sort of attitude to take. I'm legitimately all for anything that makes driving a car less attractive. And I'm saying this as somebody who absolutely refuses to get an electric vehicle. I love my gas powered vehicles. I love my car, and I enjoy driving it immensely. But that being said, I'm well aware of the contrarian nature of the opinion that I just stated regarding bicycles and bicycle lanes and isolated bicycle lanes. I mean, I was very active. They're actually transitioning the corridor very near my house right now, and they provided options for people to vote on. And I legitimately voted for isolated bike lanes with traffic furniture between the car lanes and the bike lanes that would completely remove a car lane, take the 4-lane road down to 2. And they did do that. They are going to take the 4-lane road down to 2, but it's going to have open bike lanes next to it, which is better, but it's not as safe. And so anything that you can do to protect commuters, whether they're pedestrian or cycling or whatever it is, whatever their choice of transportation, feet, wheels, what have you. But I'm all for it. It is definitely past time. We're late. We're behind schedule. If you look at what Europe has done, for instance, like go to the Netherlands, go to England, any of the big cycling countries. I mean, what they do is light years ahead of what we're doing. They're so much more evolved than what we are in the States. And the States were just so spoiled by our car culture that we almost feel entitled to be able to drive as any way that we like, as long as there are no cops around. Drive however you like, as long as you can get away with it. And I see evidence of this. This cannot be argued. This cannot be argued. If you can get away with it, even if you can't get away with it, people are still going to drive their cars like absolute freaking idiots. I give you the person who hit me 71 miles per hour in a 25 mile an hour zone, in a construction zone. So you got to do what you got to do to protect people. I feel very passionate about that, obviously. What would be one figure? Oh, let me just back up. As my understanding is in London, there are certain areas in London where it's just impossible to drive anymore. Like it's the policies almost prohibit owning a car in London. Great. More of that, please. What would be one figure in your collection that you would not part with, and why? Just one, huh? Let me have some of this tart while I think about it. That's freaking great. Mando on Blurk? Maybe. Probably an Iron Man figure of some sort. I don't know. That's a hard question. And the thing about that question is, my answer that I give you now will probably be completely different than the answer that I will give you in an hour. Yeah. Also, nothing is irreplaceable. That's an attitude that I'm coming to right now. Oh, hey, Chris Waggle. My old chum from Gifted program back in the 4th grade or 5th grade or something like that back in Hillsborough. And still my chum for shows and drinks and trivia. Oh, Saturday's doing the Christmas brunch and haven't been able to watch any of your stuff live. Cool. Wonder if you're still here. Anyway, good to see you. Thanks for chiming in. Yo, Timbo. I can see them doing that in the near future. Again, that's conjecture. I have, as we stated earlier, I have no insider information. Hell no. Hell no. In fact, by the time I'm dead, I plan on having all my collection sold. This is not a lifelong thing for me. My end game is sell everything off before I turn 60. And start traveling while I'm still upwardly mobile and able to do such things. This is a passion of mine, and it has been for a long, long time. It's something I'm good at, and I get a great deal of joy out of several aspects of collecting. But I've never looked at it as something that I want to do for my entire life. So when it comes to what I want to be buried with, well, first of all, I'm not going to have a casket. my whole plan is for a natural burial. Put me in a shroud, put me in the ground, let the bugs eat me. I want to take... I've been eating other life forms on this planet for the past 50 plus years. And I want to be able to return the favor. So put me in the ground, let everything that's me become part of the world again. And then when the world is destroyed in 500 million years by the expansion of the sun, and all the Earth's atoms, including my own, wind up going out into space and being used to develop another star. That's what I want to happen. I don't want to be burned. That's what a waste of resources. Yeah, cremation is not my favorite. Which one? I'm guessing A New Hope, Leia, but could be wrong. I just have this image in my head of The Great Escape. You know, when they're hauling the dirt out from underneath the barracks, when they're digging the tunnels, and they've got like sacks inside their pants, and they're just like letting the dirt fall out of the bottoms of their pants. That's what I see when you say that. I really want to see that. Like, okay, let's burn Bitter Troll, put his ashes in a sack in my jeans, and then just walk around Disney, and every so often I like pull a string that lets a few ashes out. We're gonna put some of you over here in Batu. We're gonna put some of you over here in, I don't know. It's been a while since I've been to Disneyland, but that's the way to do it. Okay, so if you're planning to leave Sideshow, please accept my CV and be the next I doubt that I leave Sideshow of my own accord. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if an opportunity that was just too hard to resist came along, and I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't think that that's going to happen. But if something irresistible came along, then that's the only thing that would get me to leave Sideshow. I enjoy the work that I do there. I enjoy a lot about that company, and I don't see me leaving that anytime soon. Good for you. I'm so looking forward to dinner tonight. I don't even know what I'm going to have. Probably fish. That's worthy. That's worthy. I'm not a fan of being embalmed. You guys studied that? What happens to an embalmed body over time? It's gross. Can I just say the music underneath your transition through life into the next phase of the universe makes it completely epic. Is that right? The previous song that was just playing? What was that? I don't even know. Behind the Gates. Yeah, that would... This has a very Halo-esque vibe, so I approve of that. It's by a group called Flow, spelled F-L-O-U-W. Behind the Gates. And I found that most everything that's available on Epidemic Sound, which is the music service that I use for this music, most all of it is available on iTunes. So if you wanted to, you know, listen to it. Oh, I should do that. I should create a playlist of all the stuff that's on here for people who are curious. Anyway, let's get back to Keo. That's Q-E-E-O, The New Beginnings. Upbeat, fun. Touch obnoxious as well. I'm such a pig. All right. What did I like in 2023? Where should we begin? Let's start with music. My favorite album for 2023. Let's see. For this one, I actually had a hard time choosing. So I did a couple of runner-ups after I finally selected which one I listened to the most. Now, before I move forward with the best of 2023, let me just say that everything here is subjective. This is just the things that I personally have appreciated in 2023. I don't consider myself enough of an expert in music, television, film, or even the 6 scale to definitively state what is the best of anything. So maybe 6 scale. Anyway, no, that's not true, because everything that I put, like, I've got my top 5 figures for 2023, And legitimately every single one of them is totally subjective. It's totally emotion-based. It's not based on any sort of technical specifications or anything like that. So don't consider my list to be the definitive list for the best figures of 2023. Especially considering I'm Hot Toys focused, and there are a lot of other companies out there that are doing great things. But anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I plan on being there. So look for me. I'll just drive up for an hour and a half, you know, stay for an hour and then drive back down. It's a great opportunity to listen to some podcasts and then hang out with you guys for a little bit, watch the kids play, and then just come back home. Hopefully sober. Yeah, dude, this is great. Salted caramel cheese tart. Cream cheese tart. I'm gaining 10 pounds while eating this thing. The salt is very definitely salt forward, man. I like that. All right. So, favorite albums. Runner-up number one. Runner-up number one. Let me see if I can share some of this here. Because I don't think any of you, or many of you are going to have heard this. Oh, you can do video files? That's kick-ass. Beg your pardon, everybody, while I open this and open that. Because my number one runner-up definitely has to be Spine by Mercure. For those of you who don't know, aren't aware of Mercure, it is a one-person Danish act. The name of the artist is Amelie Brun, and she's ridiculously talented. I first became aware of her 2 or 3 years ago. Her history has been black metal, but I don't mean like the really hard grinding black metal that some of you may think of when you think of black metal. I mean, it's much more melodic, borderline shoegazer style, sort of like something you would see from... I'm trying to think of comparisons. Just check it out because it's really, really cool. Now, after doing a few black metal albums early on in her career, she shifted the Mercure project to focus more heavily on folk, Scandinavian folk, a lot of crooning and the like. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful shift that she did for a little while, and then a couple things happened. The pandemic happened, and then she got pregnant and became a mother. And she legitimately credits those two things with her transitioning back to black metal. Yes, that's right. The pandemic and motherhood had such a doom-like effect on Amelie Brun that she shifted back to black metal with this. And again, it's just really soft, atmospheric black metal. The really amazing cascading drums that you expect during a Scandinavian black metal record are so subdued and so quiet and so relaxing, perversely relaxing. Everything about it is beautiful, and I highly recommend it. And there's a lot of humanistic vibe going on with the content. Worth checking out, highly recommend it. Another one, and I couldn't find a sizable enough graphic for it, so I'm just gonna stop sharing the screen and go big. One of my favorite bands of the past 12 or so years has been M83. And they're an electronic act out of France, headed up by a cat named... God, is his last name Gonzalez? It's all created, and I think most of it is recorded by a single person, much like Mercure. But when they go live, the musicians that tour with this guy when he plays live, the show that they put on is first rate. I've only seen them once, and it was at the Pageant in St. Louis, so it was a quasi-intimate setting. The Pageant's actually a fairly large venue for a small venue, but it was still pretty damned intimate. And the thing that I like most about M83 is that their music, again, is atmospheric, electronic, very dreamlike. It almost instigates like a trance-like state when you listen to it. There's like house, dance, EDM quality to it, but also just elements of like the and they've even done soundtracks. That's where I was going towards. There's almost like a score-like quality to it. It almost feels like you're listening to a story unfold. In fact, on the album that I first heard by them called Hurry Up We're Dreaming, they did a 4-part video series featuring children that were coming into their own with superpowers. Definitely worth checking out. I wish I remember the names of all the songs that they did those videos for. But this year they released an album called Fantasy. They experiment a lot. He moves around and tries different things. I think the previous album was very heavily pop influenced. I think they were trying to transition more into like pop music just to generate some hits, and they were partially successful in that regard. But Fantasy by M83, put it on in the background, listen to it, and I guarantee it will take you back to childhood. You will just feel the way that you felt when you were a kid and just dreaming about all these amazing stories that you were reading about or seeing in films. At least it does for me. One of the things that I keep thinking about, the quality that it generates in my mind would be something like Legend with Tom Cruise. You know, that's sort of like dreamlike quality that what's his name generated for that film, even back in the 80s when they didn't have CGI. You had to rely on practical effects. Great stuff. But moving beyond that, my number one album for 2023, and this is based on a few criteria, including how many times I've listened to it on repeat, and I've listened to it a lot on repeat. Overall quality of my reaction to every song on the record, you know, and yeah, just the quality of the music in general has got to be Phantomine by Ghost. It's an EP. It's not even a full-on album, but it definitely takes the crown. For those of you who don't know a lot about Ghost has a quality where they has a tactic of releasing a full-length album, followed about a year later by an EP of cover songs. And the idea is that the cover songs will provide you some sort of a clue as to what the upcoming album is going to be like. It kind of gives you an idea of what the influences are going to be for the upcoming album. So if this album, which features, I just want to make sure that I get this right, but my typing sucks. That's not how you spell Phantomime. It's like pantomime, only with an H. Okay, sure. It's not doing anything. My search function is broken. There we go. Ghost. The track list includes... Let me find it. Scrolling. There we go. Includes See No Evil by a band I've never heard of, but God, it might actually be one of my favorite tracks from the record. Jesus, He Knows Me, a cover by a song called Genesis, by Genesis from back in the 80s. Nice, solid indictment of evangelical leaders, televangelists, and such. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Hanging Around, again, a cover by a band I've never heard of before, but this is the crowning achievement. Phantom of the Opera by Iron Maiden, almost note by note homage to that great song from the second album, Killers? I think Phantom of the Opera was from Killers. Pretty sure. But it's a 7-minute, 23-second long epic track. And what I really appreciate the most about it is it brings modern production to a classic song whose production values were limited by the technology at the time. No longer. Yeah, great stuff. Incidentally, the lead singer for Iron Maiden at the time, whose name escapes me, hates it, which makes me like it even more. So, and the whole album wraps up with a cover of Tina Turner's "We Don't Need Another Hero," one of the theme songs from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. How could I not love that? So there we go. That's my number one album of 2023. Let me know what you think of it. If you've heard these things in the chats, hopefully some of you are being inspired by me right now to actually go out and explore some different music. Oh, Phantom of the Opera got a Grammy nom. No shock. It's brilliant. God, that track is just so... Listen to it while you drive. But only if you're going to be, in a place where you can drive quickly, because it's, if you feel like in a place where you can feel entitled to drive as fast as you want. Anyway, moving right along. Attached to this, and I didn't take the time to do any runners up for my favorite song of the year, but I do believe that that Phantom of the Opera was definitely in the running for Song of the Year for me, but in the end, it had to give way to the track Rise by Extreme. We haven't heard from the band Extreme, a band that came along in the late 80s with their eponymous initial first release, which had a couple of really cool hits, including one called Play With Me that was on the soundtrack for the original Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. But their follow-up album was called Pornograffiti, and legitimately every song on that album is amazing. Not just because of the ridiculous talents of Nuno Betancourt, the guitar player for the band, or the skyrocketing vocals of Gary Cherone, or the thundering bass lines from a bass player whose name I forget. But everything was just so damn funky and enjoyable and danceable. Just such a great record from beginning to end to listen to. But they released a couple of albums after this, and then they kind of faded into obscurity for a long time. Now, due to bands like Ghost that are kind of bringing that style, that era of rock and roll back into prominence, they've followed up by creating a new album. I can't remember the name of the album, but it's got a big gorilla on the cover. But this track, Rise, the solo by Nuno Betancourt, is such that it's a hard-driving rock and roll tune with a mind-blowing solo that might actually be in the top 10 solos of all time. In my personal top 10 solos of all time. So Rise by Extreme actually is my favorite song that I've heard, brand new song that I've heard this year. Favorite book. Haven't read many books. In fact, I've only read one, and that's Fairy Tale by Stephen King. I mentioned that in a previous live stream that I'd read that. It's delightful and a great way for me to re-engage with reading. I started reading while I was waiting around a clinic, undergoing some therapy for my concussion. And it's a delightful tale of a high school boy who befriends a cantankerous old man and his senior dog, his senior German Shepherd, and some really amazing fantasy/horror elements that evolve because it is a Stephen King story. I don't want to give anything away about it, but if you're looking for it's a thick book. It's not the Stand level of thickness. It's not It level of thickness, but it is a long read. If you're looking for something that's like a lot of fun, has fantasy elements, horror elements, and just the classic, very, very digestible writing of Stephen King, then by all means, please consider picking up Fairy Tale and reading it, and let me know what you think. TV series. Favorite TV series of the year. Might surprise you. Your first thought is going to be Ahsoka. And I delighted in Ahsoka like so many Star Wars fans actually did. Everything about it was just... It was service to this fan. I got more of my Rebels crew. I got more of Ahsoka in general. And I got all new things as well. Just not only did it bring back in and resolve a lot of things that were left unresolved in Rebels, but it opened up all new possibilities for storytelling in the future. And I can't wait to see where that goes. But not my favorite series for 2023. And my favorite series for 2023 may not even be a 2023 series. It may have come out in 2022, I'm not sure, but it is Lisey's Story. Lisey's Story, starring Julianne Moore. It is also keeping the King theme going. It is based on a book by Stephen King that King has avowed is his favorite book that he's ever written. And when you watch it, you'll understand why. Maybe you've read the book, so you already know, or maybe you watched the show, so you already know. But it combines all the elements that make a television show perfect for me. It's got the fantasy, it's got the horror, it's got the visuals, and it's got the great storytelling and dialogue. Just an absolutely beautiful story of love and loss and dealing with loss. But there's also much more elements that are probably much more personal to Stephen King, but which I also understood as well, like the notion of rabidly devoted fans is covered in this. But yeah, if you haven't seen Lisey's Story, then yeah, you definitely have to check that out. Favorite TV episode, and then we'll move on to figures. But favorite TV episode, there's a long list of TV episodes that I really, really enjoyed. I could probably name at least one from What If. I could probably name something from Loki. There's a lot of stuff that happened with Loki. By the way, Loki definitely deserves an honorable mention for favorite TV series for 2023. Loki season 2. But I think ultimately, It was very close. I very nearly picked Shadow Warrior from Ahsoka, episode 5, I think, from the Ahsoka TV series, where we get so much live action Clone Wars stuff that it was just made my head explode. But ultimately, that wasn't my choice. Ultimately, my choice has to go to The Last of Us, episode 3. Long, long time. What a quintessential love story. Absolutely quintessential love story. And I don't want to reveal too much about it for those who haven't seen it. And I can't bring myself to believe there's anybody out there that hasn't, but just on the off chance that somebody hasn't and might be compelled to watch it based on what I'm saying here. What I love about, there are many things to love about Long, Long Time. But one of the things that got me, and I recognized very early on while watching it for the first time, was that you could take that dialogue for Frank's character and swap genders and make Frank a female character, and you wouldn't have to change any of that dialogue. Any of it. It's just so brilliantly written. So brilliantly written. But dang. Yeah, Bad Wolf is just like, yeah, I've reminded at least one of you about this, but typically you can't. I mentioned this episode to my estranged wife back after it was first released. You must watch this. I know that zombie stuff isn't your shtick. I know the video game shows definitely aren't your shtick. But trust me when I tell you this is something you have to see. And left it at that. And she never told me whether or not she watched it or got into it. But I do follow her on X. I'm just going to call it Twitter. I follow her on Twitter, and scrolling through my Twitter feed, she liked a comment where somebody else actually labeled this the best episode of television for 2023. Like, when somebody asked a question, what's the best television episode from 2023? The response was, this is the only correct answer. And I firmly believe that. What a freaking triumph. Okay. Let's move on to the important stuff. Favorite Hot Toys figures. Favorite Hot Toys figures for 2023. And this one surprised me, but number 5, counting down. This probably really is in no particular order. The order is probably going to change before the show ends, but we'll start with the KX Enforcer Droid. And here's why. I'm not going to break down my KX Enforcer Droid and show it to you because it's in such a complex pose involving another character that I dread the idea of trying to reassemble it the way that I have it on display. I got other things to do with my time, but I happen to have another KX Enforcer Droid right here. So yeah, let's bust him out really quick and just showcase the different things that I like about the KX Enforcer Droid. First of all, storytelling potential. That was such an amazing moment in the Book of Boba Fett when they chose to illustrate some brief flashes from the Night of a Thousand Tears from the Mandalorian Purge. And one of the things that they chose to use to showcase that was, oh my god, it's still got all the bags on it. Yeah, was the KX Enforcer Droid. Multiple KX Enforcer Droids in a very Terminator-like scene, marching across the wasted landscape of Mandalore, blasting any living thing that they came across. And it was horrific, and it was beautiful, and it was a lovely homage to Terminator. As so much of Star Wars is an homage to things that came before. One would be forgiven for just being reductive enough to call everything about a derivative. But, you know, screw that. I don't have time for that. Maybe, should I be talking about my reaction to Rebel Moon? Loved Rebel Moon. Loved it from beginning to end. And I say that without apologizing for it. Because it gave me so much joy. It was like taking Roger Corman's, I think it was Roger Corman's, Battle Beyond the Stars and giving it a budget. And throwing in some derivative elements from other franchises. Thank you, Zack Snyder. Thank you, Zack Snyder, for bringing us the glory of Rebel Moon. And to all of you out there who are choosing not to pile on the bandwagon of hate that is erupted as a result of this show, kudos to you. Kudos to you. It was a lot of fun. I went into it thinking that I was going to be like, ugh, and not once did I have that reaction. Oh my god. When I become king of Hot Toys, my first step is going to be to remove the tight wrapping of the plastic from the limbs. Or maybe not. Maybe not. I don't even know why I'm bothering taking time to do this. We've actually showcased this figure on another episode, but yay. Only one to go. But anyway, getting back to the KX Enforcer droid after that segue into the realm of Rebel Moon. It's obviously the same figure as K2SO. Even the color bands on his arms are the same as K2XO. The differences being this figure is a lot more weathered than K2 was. Ugh. Every time I think I've got this whole slicing open the Hot Toys plastic bags down, another figure shows up that just ruins it for me. But it's much more heavily weathered than the K2SO figure, as it should be. There are bits of rust showing through there, just more scratches, and I don't want to say dings, but just chips in the paint, and the overall look of it just seems more decayed, which actually adds an element of the horrific to it. I mean, I feel like I keep thinking about that 600 series Terminator from Terminator Salvation, and how they showed a lot more decay than the chromed out T800 series. Yeah, but I just love everything about the design of this figure. It translates so well into 6 scale. Because the design was so good, they were able to just basically port the design over into 6 scale, and you had just a perfect figure because the design was so perfect. Obviously the lights aren't in this one, but the eyes light up and are also independently articulated. Yeah, just great. And you get an incredible, and I don't often say this about Hot Toys bases, because I feel like Hot Toys doesn't provide the same level of detail to the bases that they do to their figures, which is fine. You don't want the base to distract from the figure itself. It just needs to be like a silhouette, basically a fully realized 3D version of a silhouette. But you get this rocky base, similar to other bases that we've seen before, yes, but with some modifications, and this blasted out Mando helmet that you can just display anywhere. You can put it on the base. You can have him holding the helmet. Yeah, it's God, it's just so delightful. Happy to have 2 of these. If you guys are sensing a photo in the making, you could be forgiven for that, because there is a photo in the making. Not actively in the making, but long-term goals. Where's this? So let me know your thoughts on the KX Enforcer droid figure, if you were able to get one of these. I'm not sure if they're still available at Sideshow or not, or anywhere else. But if you missed out on K2SO, it's a very worthy substitute. And most people who walk into your house and peruse your collection, most people won't know the difference. Unless you got them with the rifle. Then they might call you out on it. Oh, Alex Aronowitz is here, and I missed it. Happy New Year, buddy. That's not your photo. Anyway, number 2 on the list is... He's a big boy. The Carnage 6 scale figure by Hot Toys from Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. Now, you say what you want about the film. That's going to be subjective as well, but I love the Carnage character. I mean, I love how they took a character like Venom that was pretty terrifying in his own right, and then they made him even more horrific. And again, much like the Hulkbuster, look at how massive this thing is. Just huge and slimy looking. It just looks like meat. and the posability of it is really, really on point. And I've basically posed him here in a way that like hides all the exposed joints as best as I could, while just giving you that, the concept of that classic Carnage roar. But this was actually sent to me by the team at Sideshow, and I was so delighted that they thought to get me this. They knew they had seen and heard my reaction when I did the first look video for this figure, and they were like, "We got to get Terry one of these," and they did. And yeah, so awesome. But that's on constant display in my studio. And yeah, love it. Okay, number 3, moving right along. Let's not let any grass grow under our feet, and hopefully I don't break this thing. Not really break, but there are parts that might slide off, depending on how fickle gravity is. I love, love, love this Iron Man Origins classic Iron Man figure. I love how they did the transparent bits over the armor that give you that look of the way that the character was illustrated back in the 70s and 80s in the Bob Layton era. Bob Layton especially was one who kind of gave it that look of actually having some sort of a ridiculously thick lacquer over the Iron Man character. And this, I can't think of a better way to translate that into 3 dimensions than the way that Hot Toys did it. I don't have batteries in this one, so that's why it's not lit up. But additionally, there's also the base that features so many... Ooh, careful. See, that's what I mean. I really should get some putty. In fact, I'm going to take this off until I'm able to get putty. But you can see that there are all kinds of really crazy cool things going on in this briefcase. Is there dust in there? There isn't. Let's hear it for the DTOF. The late and lamented DTOF. Yeah, by the way, everybody, the DTOF will no longer be offered by IKEA beginning next month in January. I believe it's January. It might be February of 2024. They will discontinue the DTOF entirely. So if you need any DTOFs, pick them up right now. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about getting 2 more, even though I don't have a place to put them. But yeah, such a great, and I don't often use the phrase underrated figure, but I feel like this one is underrated. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are missing the point and don't recognize what Hot Toys was trying to achieve with this. And I feel like I know what they were trying to achieve, and I feel like they did it very, 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 very admirably. I wasn't sure about it until I saw it in person at Comic-Con, but once I saw it in person, I was like, there's no way I'm not having this. Delicate. Number 2. The aforementioned Cad Bane 6-scale figure by Hot Toys. Just look at this thing. I never imagined that I was actually going to see a Hot Toys Cad Bane figure. And then, when the character appeared in Book of Boba Fett, I had a hope. And sure enough, Hot Toys delivered, and they delivered in style. So good looking. Look at that portrait. So damned menacing. Now it's choosing to... Now, because it focuses on the nearest element, so if I try to turn it too much, then it's going to focus on this instead of on his face. But you're getting the whole picture here with this. Now this version actually does come with the Toto 6-scale figure. I've got him in there. I didn't bother bringing him out. It's just the fewer things you bring out, the less opportunity you have to break things. That's my thoughts on this. But yeah, just look at, you got the boot jet. The boot jets actually have little elements that you can put in there. So many great things that it comes with. The hat comes off, but I'm not going to take it off. It is dusty. I do need to hit it with a lint roller. That's my number 2. My number 1 isn't a figure at all. Yeah, this is it. My number 1 collectible from 2023 has to be the swoop bike from The Mandalorian by Hot Toys. Currently the Mandalorian is still not mounted on this swoop bike. That's because I took him off and reposed him for the video shoot with oh, who was he battling? It wasn't what's his name? It wasn't Moff Gideon. Oh, it was Heavy. It was Paz Vizsla. Yeah, I posed him up for in combat with Paz Vizsla, and I haven't broken down that pose yet. But again, the detail that went into the paint on this really, really reads as metallic across the board. And you can just see like the weathering on the steering struts there. Look, how good is that? This is plastic, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a fabric material here. This is plastic. Now these bags are fabric material. And of course you've got the little Grogu in there just having a ball. And again, subjective, absolutely subjective, because I am a fan of motorcycles, and legitimately speeder bikes played a huge role in me becoming a motorcycle fan when I got into adulthood. Speeder bikes, light cycles, and Top Gun. I feel like I'm forgetting something. There was something else that had something motorcycle-like that I'm leaving out there. I think there were 4. It definitely wasn't Easy Rider that got me into motorcycles. Let's just say that. And that's it. That's my presentation of my favorite things. So without further ado, it is 11:30. I'm 30 minutes behind schedule. This stream is going to run a little bit long. Let's check out the comments here. I didn't get the swoop back, but the possibilities to post figures on it are awesome. Yeah, you don't have to limit yourself to Mando. I mean, something else that almost made the cut would be the Yaiba Kusanagi bike by Pure Arts, which I don't know that I got that in 2023 or 2022. I think it was 2023 though. Got the Yaiba Kusanagi bike, and I put the Spider-Man 2020 figure on it from the 2020 suit figure from Miles Morales Spider-Man. And it looks really freaking great. So something like that. If you had another character that you wanted to put on a swoop bike, you would be forgiven. Can you imagine that at some point in his life, Luke Skywalker probably rode on a very similar swoop bike to that one? Not that I'm giving you ideas, but I am giving you ideas. Club 6L is in full effect. Let's get to posing. Reading all these great comments. Yeah, dude, he lived in Ventura the same time as me, and I got to meet him at my local comic book shop. He showed up there just to do a signing. Cool cat. He's a lot of fun. He's since moved from Ventura. I think he's living in Florida now. He's got different things. He's got multiple irons in his fire. He's traveling around doing the worldwide con circuit, and having a great time doing it. But yeah, very, very cool guy. Another person who lives there is, and very close to me, I might add, but when he met me, he was actually, yeah, I've seen you around the neighborhood. But, is Howard Chaykin. Yes, from American Flag, from Star Wars. Was one of the big Star Wars artists back in the 70s when Marvel Comics had the Star Wars license back then. So yeah, got to meet him. Hates Star Wars. Not sure if you knew, but that man is just like, when he found out I was a big Star Wars fan, he was like, what the hell's wrong with you? Never watch any more Star Wars again. I actually heard him say to a small child, never watch Star Wars again. Which harkens back to that time that, what was his name? Alec Guinness said something similar to a child back in, I think, the 80s. Yeah. Whatever, you gotta own that. You're a part of that. You're a part of history. Just own it. And accept the fact that people love you for it. Oh, the bandana. This looks like he's already got the kind of Timothy Oliphant hip cock a little bit there. Okay. So this has to be... I think I showed off this portrait when I still had the Sideshow's version here with me. But, I'm sorry, man. That... Haters... That looks like Timothy Oliphant. Seriously, it does. But I'm not going to use that portrait. Because as much as I loved seeing Timothy Olyphant in Star Wars, and for like half a heartbeat there, I thought maybe they were going to have him be Boba Fett, but then I realized that doesn't make sense because they've already got a live-action actor for Boba Fett. And, but as much as I enjoyed seeing him in his, you could even call it typecast and be forgiven for it. It was great to just, all the inspiration there, the Deadwood series, Justified, you know, how many times has he played this role where he's just the marshal, the sheriff, and they brought him into Star Wars with that, and I love Filoni and Favreau for doing that. For me, I'm sure they were doing that just for me. You guys might think it was for you too, but no, just me. I am, of course, kidding. Stand in the place where you live. Plastic over the base. Let's take that off. The plastic all over these Hot Toys bases is so clear that it's hard to discern. For me, maybe it's my eyesight, maybe nobody else has a problem with this, but I always have trouble discerning which end I have to peel from. Now this base is such, and by the way, let me know how you have this displayed in your collections. If you have this figure, who do you have him paired with? Especially if you're our DTOF users. Just making sure I've got everything I need. I do. I think that he's going to go up on a shelf in my living room where I have a lot of Mandalorian themed figures. So he won't be on a DTOF, but I'm kind of curious to see who you have him paired with. Obviously, probably Mando, but I'm going to have him up there with like an Allies of the Mandalorian sort of a theme going, and enemies. Like enemies are one side, allies on the other. Why do I keep wanting to say alloys? Anyway, so I'm thinking, for the purposes of my display, this thing is modular, by the way. 2 pieces. You can put it here. You can put it here. And just have him stand here like he's getting ready to walk through the door. Or just display it without. And just have him on the wooden sidewalks of Mos Pelgo. Yeah, that's a photo in the making. I haven't decided just how to do it, but there's going to be something. So yeah, I'm thinking the doorway on the front of the base, like so. Like he's getting ready to walk through. And I don't think this will flip. No, it won't flip because there are little cuts in the wood, and these have to align. These little lines here have to align with those cuts. So I tried flipping it for the video and it wouldn't work. For obvious reasons. And I'm trying to think. You can actually... Oh, yeah. Yeah, because if you could flip it, then you can actually have the base be further back. But since that's not a thing, you'd have to just balance it like this, and then once you put it down, then you can actually have it displayed like that. And I might go for that. Let's bring in the apple box and go wide. Oh yeah, that's got the groove. Alright, get you up. We're gonna go wide and we're gonna get high. Okay. So to reiterate, taking this guy, putting him back there. So there's legitimately, you can see there's no support here. So you might want to grab something that you have, like get a big wad of putty or something like that, just to provide a little bit of support. But you shouldn't need it. It should just stand there on its own. Or maybe even putty it underneath, like down here, just to provide a little bit more support. But hopefully we won't need that. And the idea is he's going to hang out like this. Now, The downside of something like this is that obviously it takes up real estate from front to back. So if there's a challenge with real estate with your display, then this might not be a method that you would consider. I'm missing something. It's right there. Okay. Ooh. It just occurred to me that if I have him in flight, that would actually create some very desirable Y-axis sort of real estate clearance, because the swoop bike and Mando have to go back up there. But no, I think I'm just going to use this base like this. It does have rocket effects, jetpack effects, but there's also, and I've used this with something similar with my Jango Fett, you can actually display the rocket being launched from the jetpack with this cool little rocket blast effect. And it's effective, and it's effective, and it looks great in its display. So if you're shying away from it because you think it's going to look cheesy, don't. It won't. Trust me. Uh-oh. Ooh. Oh, right. Man, look at this. I was like, where's the key? The nozzle of the rocket is the key. It just slides in like that. And then, boom, done and doneer. So, because I fear magnets and their inconsistencies, I'm going to go ahead and leave that jetpack off until the pose is struck. I don't think we need the rifle. I don't know why I got that out. I'm just going to put his gun in its holster, and we're going to kind of create a gunslinger vibe for Cobb Vanth. Yeah, again, this legitimately feels like it's been posed before, because the hips are aside. Did they send me back the one that I used for first look? Those little stinkers. Okay. Get my chair out of the way. Oliphant has this vibe, his signature martial pose. He doesn't spread his legs apart. He kind of has them kind of close together with his feet slightly cocked. His hip is definitely cocked out. And that allows for this leg to be straight, but you want this leg to be bent a little bit and out to the front a little bit as well. Then you take the torso and you shift it back around to compensate, but in this case I kind of want to twist it a little bit and have him kind of reaching for the gun like he's ready for the draw. Uh-oh. Phone. Yeah, something's up. Put that back on there. It wouldn't be a Saturday morning Toy Tunes, or even a Sunday morning Toy Tunes, if I didn't drop something all the way down on the floor and then lose it. There it is. Found it. Okay. This is hard to do standing up without a supportive surface. Okay. Another thing you have to pay attention to with this figure is the kerchief. See how it's fully unfolded here? That's the look that he has for the kerchief when he doesn't have the helmet on. Like after he loses the armor, then that's when the kerchief starts to be worn. So you have to, one of the finessing elements of this figure is you have to kind of get it tucked up a little bit and wrapped around the neck more and fold it in so that less of it is hanging down. Hard to do. Hard to do. I'll be the first one to admit. Now I think I've got him bent turned a little bit too far. This way. So yeah, I'm gonna bring this down, bring this back. And I wish this belt was hanging a little bit lower. Oh, that's why. It was twisted. It's possible. Oh, there we go. That leg was bent. I was thinking it's possible that I've got this, his hips cocked a little too much, but I don't think that I do. Now remember when he was actually facing off with Cad Bane, I'm going to put him up here for a second. When he was facing off with Cad Bane, he legitimately was crouched down a little bit. He had his arm back like this, like he was really anticipating. Genuinely nervous. I don't know if he was nervous because he knew who Cad Bane was, and there did seem to be that moment when he asked who he was, and when Cad Bane lifted his head, revealing the full red-eyed, blue-skinned Duras features of the character, that he was just like, oh, shit, I know that guy. Now, you don't want to go too far back with the helmet, and you definitely don't want to stick it out like that. Oliphant's head is just... his posture is perfect. Let me just spin this around here. Get that groin grabber up into the groin. One thing about the groin grabbers is sometimes the spread of the groin grabbers prohibits you from getting the feet exactly where you want them to be. Now you can overlap them, but you run the risk of breaking the support. So I'm going to opt not to do that with this one. Now, again, I've talked about this before on the channel, but like just take a look at the T-visor. And the cool effect, the cool acting effects that you can create with the T-visor, just based on an angle of view. With when you're looking down on it like this, there's almost like the curve of a cowboy's hat. So the brim of a cowboy's hat. So you kind of create that same curvature there that you would get with that, which provides just like the illusion that he's got his game face on. He's serious. He's almost frowning. But if you tilt it back, the opposite effect occurs. He seems more vulnerable. He just seems like almost surprised and everything. So you kind of consider things like that when you're considering where to put. I'm just going to move his head back because I think the actual position of the neck was creating a problem for me. I'll just spin this around here. Yeah, the neck was too far forward, so I need to jut out that head just a little bit more. And turn his head a little bit like that. Yeah. All right. Now, again, full disclaimer, I'm probably going to make adjustments to this over time, like over the course of the next week. And allegedly, I'll even create a 360 turnaround video for channel members to view the final pose. At this point, my gut reaction is that this is good, but this is only one story to tell. And I'll put this on here just to round out the actual look of the figure. But this is where I'm at. Gunslinger pose. Let's go ahead and face him to the camera. His hands slightly drawn back. And I kind of feel like you got to use that. Let me pull this off so I don't knock it off. The shrug the shoulder thing, bring that one up, and then drop this one down. Yeah, that's much better. And then I'm going to want to futz with this kerchief too, because it's not 100% where I want it to be. And this is cool because he's definitely he's getting ready to draw sort of a posture. And I don't mean sketch. But there's your gunslinger vibe. This shoulder up, this shoulder down. Hip cocked out to the left. And when you cock out the hip, it raises up this side of the hip, so it enables this leg to be straightened out completely. And you put a little bit of a bend in this one to compensate, then adjust the torso accordingly. And I think I'm leaving it at that. Gunslinger Vanth. May want to try something later on down the line with this. Yeah, because it's a great, great blaster. But I did consider pairing him up with some Tuscans. Tell me what you think of that. Yeah. Oh, Keith Lee was asking about Poser Cam. I've still got that GoPro, but incorporating it with this, I've got to wear it on my head. It's legitimately something that I was wearing on my head. I had a headband with the GoPro on it, and it looked freaking ridiculous. So that's why I haven't incorporated it into the live stream. If I ever start doing posing videos again, I may reincorporate that. There's been some talk about bringing back an aspect of how to be a poser, but it won't be anything near what it was before. So that's it. That's my Cobb Vanth display, I think. Again, I may make some minor tweaks to it. I might make him less getting ready to draw, just more like casual, like, hey, Clint Eastwood just standing there getting ready to light a cigar. But I like everything about this for what it is. The position of the head is pretty much right on the head and neck. You got to use that kerchief to hide that neck, because it is just a black plastic neck back there. But yeah, this reads, to me, this reads like my memory of Timothy Olyphant, an actor who I love. Anyway, let's go check out what the comments have to say here. Actually, I don't know if it's the figure is capable of going too far with the cock of the hip. Oh wait, I get what you were saying there. Never mind. Oh, was he in Hitman? I don't think I knew that. Yeah, having the hand actually on the pistol grip, that's much more of a threatening posture. And it's like the law of the gunslinger. I mean, you have to be very careful not to be the first one to draw. It has to look like self-defense, right? So to that end, I don't know, should I have him back a little bit more? Yeah, that hand wasn't quite back far enough. It needs to be able to come forward as he's lifting the hand. It needs to be coming forward as well, so that he can actually, the momentum can be moving towards to drawing and putting out front. So I had it about a half an inch further forward. Did I move that head, or did it move itself? No, it's fine. Maybe a little less. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Anyway, I think that's probably our show, guys. I'm going to get busy doing stuff that I need to be doing and try to set myself up for success in 2024. Years are a construct. But if it helps you to make a resolution, then by all means you should do so. Mine's going to be to stop gaining weight, to be better in all things, and recognize that it's a journey and not something that needs to happen tomorrow. I think if I was going to leave you with anything for New Year's Eve, it would be that. Set yourself up for success. Don't expect it all to happen literally overnight after the ball drops. Just check out a few more. I don't think I've seen that movie. Have you seen Santa Clarita Diet? That's a totally different side to Timothy Olyphant for me, and I really enjoyed I'm watching that happen. Very funny. You would. Yeah, that's definitely one. That's definitely a what would I call that? That's a headcanon sort of a thing. That's the fight that would have been awesome to see. Cad Bane in a aerial combat with anybody. Like on my display, he's actually, that pose that I showed you with Cad Bane, he's actually in combat with Anakin Skywalker on the Stap. And I think I did a turnaround of that, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe I didn't. Let's see, what do we got here? Beskar has one displayed in my... Yeah, dude, you got two, didn't you? Brilliant. If you have the means, that's the way to do it. Nah. I mean, I could see why somebody would want to do that. I mean, he's so clearly derivative of the Blondie character, right? But then so is Mando. Or, well, Mando, I guess, would be more like the man with no name, but still. I like it. I like it more than I thought I would. And I have had this in my hands before. Oh, that would totally be a great showdown, dude. I guess it wasn't much of a showdown, was it? Though Bane was clearly superior. Bane got the drop on the deputy and still had time to shoot Vanth. I mean, come on. Yeah, you told me that before. It was, yeah, it's funny. You know, I thought about doing something like that. I actually had planned on like doing something where he's like just chilling, handing off the armor to Mando by the swoop bike. That was something I considered doing for the video, but I never wound up doing it. That kerchief really needs work, doesn't it? And I think that's it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. I'm not surprised. I don't think that Hot Toys isn't content to rest on their laurels, and while they have already produced 2 Wookiees in the form of Chewbacca from episodes 4 and 7, I think that they want to refine the art, the craft of doing such a character before they release another Chewbacca. And that's also going to apply to other Wookiee characters like Chrysanthemum. So we won't see Chrysanthemum until they're actually satisfied with a Chewbacca that they've made. They want to be able to make the next one next level. Again, all conjecture. I don't have contact with anybody at Hot Toys. More's the pity. But you know, if I did, if that would just be my guess. That they really just want to refine that and create the quintessential Chewbacca for episodes 5 and 6. And that's what they're waiting for. They're working on it. Yep, that's about it. Okay, cool. I've caught up with the comments. Thank you everybody for tuning in and on this unusual live stream on a Sunday. Not unheard of, but unusual. I think I've done 2 more on Sundays, just subsequent live streams. Oh, was he in that? That's interesting. I remember that being on my list, or somebody's list. Looking at you, Lindsay. Happy New Year, everybody. Whatever you're doing tonight, do it safely. If you can't do it safely, make sure you're having fun while you're doing it and you don't hurt anybody else. That's really the goal. Thank you, Jack. Same to you. Please bring me Peli Motto. Hashtag marry me Peli. That's a big hole for me. It's a personal thing. It's very subjective, but that is a big hole for me in my Mandalorian display. She's such an important character for Mando's story, and for her to be lacking, I mean, I get it. I get the concern with releasing a Peli Motto figure. The fear is that it just won't sell well. And it probably won't in Asian markets. I don't know that Asian markets would get or appreciate that sort of a character. I don't know. Maybe I've got them pegged wrong. I do not claim to be an expert in Asian markets, so please don't think so. Okay, this is interesting. I always saw the Mandalorian as the good, Boba Fett as the bad, and Bane as the ugly. First of all, that's speciesist. It could very well be it could very well be on Duras that Bane is considered very attractive. So that's subjective at the very least, and speciesist at its worst. What just fell? Oh, my knife. My knife just fell and landed on a hit a couple of tentacles on Carnage on the way down. Hopefully not slicing them, but we'll see. Yeah, maybe. Except I don't know that now Boba Fett is no longer really bad, is he? He's had an awakening. Interesting phase of his journey. Tired of dealing with scug holes, scug pies. What? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, Lewis is thanking me for awesome content. Wow, that's high praise. Thank you. Anyway, that's it. That's it. I'm calling it. Happy New Year, everybody. Oh, good for you, Jack. Yeah, I traded that one to a friend at Sideshow for something else, and I regret it. I've regretted it ever since. Same thing with A New Hope Luke. Bad call. Bad call. Ooh, yeah, let it happen. Yeah, dude, do it with that Wool 4. Wool 4. It's going to be $800, but oh well, whatever. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us, everybody. Again, have a safe and happy New Year. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to everybody else. Have fun with your toys, and until next time, don't forget to be good to your plastic. I almost said don't forget to let your geek side show. Bye, guys.